Hi everybody, welcome back to the Mayhem Racing Karting Team vlog number 4 from Goodwood Kartways in the beautiful sunny Stouffville, Ontario. Here we are for track number 3. Today's video, or I guess race day setup is a little bit different than what we're typically used to. Normally do a quick morning warm-up, 7-minute qualifying session. The results from qualifying determine starting order for pre-final, finishing order from pre-final determines starting order for the final, and finishing order of the final is who gets all the hardware and the big paychecks. So this one's a little bit different. They like to switch it up a little bit on us here and there. So today we had morning warm-up, no qualifying. And instead we do 2 heat races, the starting order of which are randomly selected, randomly drawn through some sort of electronic system. I'm assuming like bingo balls, but in electronic form. So here we are, heat number 1. As you may have seen already, if I didn't ramble on so long, I started on pole. First lap, managed to lose a couple positions real quick. Might have to work on starts from the front row, but we'll get more on that later. So drop back behind the 477 and the 416, and we're gonna run a bunch of laps this direction. Hopefully the 3 of us can pull away from the guys behind while they are battling it out. The heat racing is quite an awesome format in the sense that you get to start from all over throughout the grid. Forces you, if you're quick, to be able to lay down some fast laps, but also make moves, teaches you a lot of passing in the racecraft. But I will stop talking now and let you enjoy some heat racing. Up here after we've done a few laps sort of in our little train. Myself and the 416 had a pretty good run, getting the nice draft. So coming through 4, I gave the 416 quite a little shot through the apex and out, which basically fired him to the front, in front of the 477. Unfortunately, I think I gave him all of my momentum, so it shot him up into the lead, and I ended up staying third behind him in the 477. Not to be outdone, the 477 decides on the next lap that, you know what, I like being out in front, I like leading, so going into 4, throws it down to the inside, makes the move stick, and in perfect racing fashion, leaves just enough racing room for everybody to get through the corner, which is basically exactly what you're looking for on those types of corners and those passes. It slowed the two of them up just enough that I was able to sort of tuck further down the inside, which put me on the outside for turn 5. But fortunately, the 477 was able to carry just enough momentum to be able to cover off the apex of 5 and hold on to the first place position. From there, I just tucked right in behind him to try to seal off that second place position. And now we've got, I think, 1 or 2 laps to go here as we were finishing up this lap. From there, we just stayed same race order. Finished heat number 1 in P2, which was quite happy about that. Onward to heat number 2, where we are the lucky one that gets to start dead last. We're back, picking things up here. Heat number 2, starting dead last in the field. Not usually a place that you look forward to starting, but I was kind of excited about it. I knew we had good pace. The car was handling fantastic all day long so far. And you know what? It's club racing, it's heat racing. We're there to get better, try some new things with kart setups, and also work on the racecraft. Last year was the first season back in the driver's seat after a number of years away from it. Since then, we've just been doing as much practice testing and racing as we can to build up that experience level. And this heat number 2 is the perfect example of that. Here we are working through lap number 1, picked up a number of positions, I think, so far. But with that, you can pick up a spot or 2. Then in the next corner, someone gets a little squirrely or a little sideways, and you end up checking up just because you don't want to, a collision or a spin will set you back further than one up a little bit in the corner. When that happens, though, the guy behind you or the guy or 2 behind you end up picking up a few spots, and that's such is life, which is kind of what you'll see on coming up here momentarily. But that's all right. of a train set up here with the 3-4 carts of us, I guess, there. Not sure exactly what transpired in front there. It wasn't close enough to get a handle on it, or even in the video, I'm not entirely sure. So anyhow, ended up tucked in behind, I can't see the number in front of me here, but the 419's directly in front of me. I think we've got 1 lap to go on the heat number 2. I'm quite happy with that one. I think there was 21 or 24 carts in this heat. Ended up finishing P11, which I was pretty thrilled with on that. So it helps so culmination of points between the 2 heats. Ended up with, I think, 2 points for the first one for finishing second, and the 11 here for this one. So ended up with a total of 13 over the course of 2 heats. Quite happy with that. Sets us up nicely for the final. Folks, it's finals time. Track 3, it's the finals. Completed our heats. Some people are where they're supposed to be or where they feel they should be. Others can still be out of place due to like an off-track incident or getting off track or an incident in one of their heats. We were fortunate enough to have 2 quite decent heats. Started off in 3rd. Guy on pole gets a great start, so I might have to take some notes there. I tucked in behind him. We did have a little bit of infighting for a couple of us, sort of 2, 3, 4, maybe 5, I think were sort of in it. We were all side by side duking it out through those first few corners, and on that first lap, unfortunately you can't see it with the angle of this camera, but managed to hang on to that second position. Once we sort of got ourselves into a little bit of a train, just, you know, everybody knows we've got 10 or 12 laps to knock out, but we got to catch up to the guy in first. We can't let him just get away with it, get away that easily. So off we go. Everybody kind of puts their head down, gets to work. It does take us a few laps, but as you'll notice, we do end up catching back up to the bumper of the 470. lap to go here. We are right on the back bumper of the 470. This was, I think, first time being in a top 3 position, getting that podium in a number of years. So as much as you want to go for the win, I was still quite excited to just be sitting in second at this point, pushing as hard as I could. Between the leader and myself, we both knew I need to knock out perfect corners, perfect laps throughout the entire heat to stick with him, but he knew the same thing, that he needed to, he was under constant pressure, that he had to knock out every lap, every corner perfect, or else I'd be all over him. It looked like he was getting a little tight through some of the corners, so I think a bit of another lap or two, I think we might have been able to pull something off, but just didn't quite have it. Here coming out at 9, I went low, he went a little bit lower to semi-block that one off. Coming to the line, a quick over-under, and unfortunately ended up in the P2 spot.